Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hector Dominguez. I am from the Cook County Assessor's Office. With us tonight, we have some very special guests. But before we do anything, we just want to thank you for being here. You literally, especially at this time, could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. That means this is important to you. It is important to us. So thank you very much. I would like to introduce our guests for tonight. We have Cook County Assessor Fritz Kagi. Round of applause. And then we also have tonight Commissioner Johnson. Another round of applause. And tonight's going to be an interesting conversation. We're here to dig deep into exactly what is happening here. So take it away, guys.
Well, thank you, Hector, so much. Thank you for bringing a lot of energy this evening tonight. We certainly need it. And I'm very much glad to be joined by a true leader in county government, and particularly at a time in which progressive leadership is so critical to bring in the type of transformation that we need at every level of government, particularly our county government. So I'm glad to be joined by our assessor. And before I turn it over to him to say a few words, I do want to thank all of you for joining us this evening. There's so much to be said about a variety of issues that impact constituents throughout Cook County, but this one is critical because I believe it's part of the bedrock of what makes communities strong, and that's the ability to have strong, stabilized housing, and that absent the right type of assessment, it could cause tremendous damage and turmoil for so many people. Where we know right now, half of Cook County residents are struggling just to afford their rent every single day. And it's not lost on either one of us that for far too long in government, government has oftentimes favored the very wealthy and politically connected. And so we're working hard every single day to make government not only accessible to everyday folks who are struggling just to connect the ends at the end of each month, but we also want to see that our residents are taking advantage of every single opportunity that's available to them. And that's why my office has been dedicated and committed to going through all of the roles in the first district to make sure that individuals that qualify for an exemption, that they're receiving that. To date, over the last 6 months, we have secured $250,000, actually $250,000 plus dollars back into the hands of everyday residents, just simply by making sure that government works for them. And so I am very much committed to making sure that our property has value, but that we are assessed properly, and that areas where assessments have not been done in a just and equitable way, that we're returning resources to families that desperately need them. And what we also are in desperate need of, and over the last couple of years, I've been grateful to serve alongside my neighbor and friend, and that is the Cook County Assessor, Fritz Kagi. Fritz, what's going on tonight, man?
Hey, Brandon, good to have you, and thanks for that great introduction. You know, it's been such a pleasure to work with you as neighbor, as fellow public servant, someone who's doing the work we're doing on behalf of the county. It's just been so amazing to see the impact that you've had on housing in a larger sense, in being a great partner in reforming our assessment system, but also in driving all the policy initiatives we have going on at the county in terms of housing, not only for homeowners, but also for renters. I think it's been just a real terrific tribute to you that in just a couple short years, you've really driven county policy more than has been done in a very long time. So it's terrific, and I'm really proud to do it as a neighbor. So we can all be proud on the west side and the west suburbs that we have someone like Brandon Johnson there serving us, and you are my commissioner. So this is a pleasure. Thanks, everyone. And as Hector said, we know you can be many different places, but this is not exactly how you imagine a fun way to spend your free time. So we want to give you two things tonight. One, we do want to give you the big picture on how this system works so that you can be a good citizen and making sure that we're good stewards over the assessment system. It's not just me, but it's you. You are a steward of the assessment system because we don't do assessments because they're fun. We do it because this is how we split up the cost of government amongst us. And assessments are about equity. They might not have been done well in the past to create an equitable system, but they're how we divide up the cost of government, which is fixed amongst us. So it's really important. And it's not just important how you're assessed. How other people are assessed affects you, especially in our system. So that's why we're going to give you the big picture. And then Hector is going to take it away with how you can navigate this yourself and be an advocate for yourself and navigating the system and make sure that you're getting all the benefits that the system offers you. So let's get started, and then we can get back to our dinner and our families and enjoying the summer, and let's give you some information that you can use. So first, I just wanted to show you here, we sent out assessment notices. If all of you are watching, you probably got one for a big, huge swath of Chicago. It's basically most of Chicago that's west of the river, south of North Avenue. There's even a little bit of West Township that goes north of North Avenue up to Fullerton, up to the river. And then it goes all the way south down to all the way to Pershing. And it's very diverse. It has the booming areas of Fulton Market, which are totally transformed from when I was growing up as a kid in the 1980s, completely different. And then we go further west. So we have Pilsen, we have Middle Village, we have East and West Garfield Park. We have all the different parts of Austin. And we got North Lawndale. So very, very diverse communities, each with their own needs, each with their own real estate markets. And what we try to do at the assessor's office is be a mirror to the market, wherever it is. If it's in Austin, we want to have assessments that reflect what someone would pay for your property in Austin. Same thing if it's in another part of the township. And here on the heat map over on the right, you can see what the price averages look like in different parts of this part of Chicago. But it's actually even much more different than that, because these just show price averages. We know in every community, on every block, you have a wide range of different kinds of buildings that sell for a wide range of different kind of prices. And so our assessments should reflect that difference too. And so we try to be that mirror to the market wherever you're living. And so here you can see in a little bit more detail where, how the prices are different. Basically, as we go west, the average price tends to go down. And we want to make sure that our models are not biased. We don't want to have some bias that's inserted into how we value properties in the west from those areas over in the east that are higher priced. And so that's what's important to you. We want to make sure that our models are reflecting all of the local conditions that are in place there, so no bias is inserted to this process of putting in assessments. And this is what we've really tried hard to deliver for you. If your assessment changes, the way the system works, it doesn't necessarily affect your taxes in the same way. In almost every case, the way our assessments have been shaking out in the last 2 years, the way we expect them to shake out in Chicago, an increase in your assessment almost certainly will entail less of a change in your taxes, and it might even go in the opposite direction. And the reason why is that your assessment is not the end of the story. A bigger part of the story is how everyone else is being assessed. And if the total assessed value in Chicago changes more than your assessment does, that can mean that opens up the possibility that your taxes even go down next year. Because what assessments do is they determine your share of the pie, this pie that no one wants to eat, which is the cost of government. But your share of assessed value is your share of the total amount of property taxes that have to be paid in the city. So that's why we show this to you. If we go back to the slide for just a second, I just want to give folks a little bit more information. So this is some context. If you look at the blue line, you can see residential values in this giant swath of the city went up 25%. Residential values in the whole, and that includes new construction. So the average home would not have increased by 25%, but it includes new construction. Commercial rose more. It more than doubled, and that's because we see huge booming activity in Fulton Market, other parts of West Township, and we saw undervaluation done in the previous administration too. So that's why values are rising. And overall, the value of property rose 65% in this overall part of Chicago over the last 3 years. So more than the average residential amount. And so residential homeowners' share of the base is decreasing so far in Chicago based on this and based on where we've reassessed Chicago so far. It's not the end of the story because we'll keep on reassessing Chicago, and that will complete the picture for comparing how much your assessment can change with the rest of Chicago. If that sounded like a mouthful, I'm sorry, but that's the way the system works. We can go to the next slide now. Here we show you how the average price changed in this giant swath of the city. Again, we know that there's a wide range here because we have such a different wide range of neighborhoods and housing types. So here on the bottom end, you can, of that green swath, you can see how much the bottom end of housing prices changed in this part of the city, and you can see way up in the top end. And there's quite a range, but in general, housing prices have risen in this part of the city over the last 3 years. The key thing to know when you get your assessment is, have we estimated the market value of your house right? You probably know what it's worth, what you could sell it for. And if we're getting it wrong, you're going to know. We put that number in big lights in your notice so that you can see, is this right or is this wrong? And if it's wrong, we want to know. We walk humbly. We want to make sure it's right. So one of the big changes that we've made is we've made sure that we eliminated this bias that seemed to be in our valuations before. It used to be that the bottom third of homes in many communities tended to be more highly assessed than the higher end homes tended to be. And it should all be equal. There should be no bias. The assessment should reflect the price of the home, regardless of whether it's a lower end home or a higher end home. And so you can see on the left-hand side, the dots are all over the place. And on the right-hand side, they're more converging into a line, which is what we want. Now, there's still a little bit of overassessment taking place on the top third, and that's because we can't see inside people's homes. And sometimes these lower-end homes, they haven't been refurbished or refinished, but we don't know that, and we don't know that they haven't been renovated in 50 or 60 years. So if there's something going on in the interior that can depress the price, we can't see it. And that's the kind of thing you can mention in the appeals process when Hector is giving you some news you can use on how to navigate the appeals process. So anyway, this is how we see things. Here you can see how the share of the burden is changing with this reassessment this year. So you can see that homeowners used to represent, in the previous assessment, they were at 54% of the total assessed value in this part of the city. With the reassessment, so far, it's going to be changing pretty significantly. So homeowners will be 40% of the assessed value in this part of the city. That is not the end of the story for a couple different ways. We still have to reassess the rest of the city, and your share of total assessed value in the city is what matters. And the second thing is there are appeals. Some of you may be doing appeals. Other people will be making appeals both at our office and at the Board of Review, and that can change this mix a little bit more. But generally, this is a relationship that we've seen going on all over the city and in the suburbs the last 2 years. Generally, we found commercial properties tended to be undervalued. There was a study showing that across the county, they were 40% undervalued for properties that sold in 2018. We've been closing that disparity and gap, and that's generally why you see the yellow piece growing and the blue piece decreasing, which is homeowners' share of the burden. And this is generally good news for homeowners. Here, this just gives you a taste of the data that we put up on the site. So you can, I know a lot of you folks, if you're here tonight with us, instead of being home eating dinner or doing something else, you like to dig into the data. This gives you a taste of the data that's on the website that you can dig into. So there are 26,000 properties, single-family homes in this part of the city, and 1,000 of them sold last year. Then you can see on the second line there that there are 39,000 2 to 6 unit buildings, and 1,100 sold last year. And you can see the price range there. And then you can see that there are 36,000 and change condos, and 1,700 of them sold last year. So generally around 5% of homes sell in an average year. Over a 3-year period, that might be 12 to 15%, something around there. And we use that information to value the other 85% that didn't sell. That's what our models are doing. And you can really dig deep on our website. You can look up your neighborhood code that's on your assessment notice, and then see the homes in your neighborhood that sold, what the ranges were, and how that would have guided our model to give you a sense of what are kind of the sales that the assessor's office is looking at in valuing my home. So I just wanted to close here, and then I'm going to hand it to Hector. So I've given you a big picture of how the system works. Again, our job is to look at those 1.9 million parcels all over the county and be a mirror to the market for every one of them. So we're not giving a preference to some over others. If we undervalue some of those, It affects you. Even if you don't own a piece of commercial property, if we're under assessing commercial property, that can mean that your share of the pie and everyone else's share of the pie is too large. So our job is to eliminate those biases, those disparities, to make sure we're being a good mirror to the market. And that's how we best serve everyone. And that's how we hope you'll judge us. Now, the other way you'll judge us is if we get the assessment on your home right. And we are about less than 250 people trying to value 1.9 million properties. We can't visit them all. And it's 100% sure, dollars to donuts, that you know more about your house than we do. Sometimes the data we have is not accurate, and that can cause our models to not price your home correctly. And so we're here doing this workshop to make sure we got it right. Did that number that we sent you estimating the market value of your home, get it right? Was it in the ballpark or not? And if it was not in the ballpark, we want to fix that here with you today. The other thing that Hector can tell you about is exemptions, which allow you to cut off a little bit of that amount in the assessment off the top and reduce your share of the pie just by getting those exemptions. Again, this is the pie that no one wants to eat, which is your tax bill, and the exemptions are there to serve you, to provide you with savings, and we want to make sure you get all the ones that you're entitled to. And if you don't, we can figure out a way to get you a refund for the amount of tax that you overpaid by not having them on. And so that's what Hector can give you. And I think I'm going to hand it over to Hector now to take it away.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Before we continue, I just want to make sure everyone is aware that while we are speaking, you might have some questions that pop up. You might have some concerns that you want to get across. You might have something on your heart that you want to give to us. Listen, we understand. So we want to make sure that you go ahead and put your question in the comments section. If you're like me, sometimes if I wait to the very end, I might forget, right? So this alleviates all that. You won't have to remember because you already wrote it down. But to continue, the responsibilities of the assessor's office, as stated by Assessor Kagi himself, to put a value on 1.9 million different properties, guys. This is what our office does. We do this by using a mass appraisal system. What we're going to talk about tonight is appealing, right? Your assessed value. So what I want to make clear right now is you're not appealing your tax bill. The tax bill you're going to be receiving has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight, right? Filing an appeal is super easy and it is free. Only thing you need is an active email address. It's best for you to start your appeal within your 30-day window. I'll show you how to look that up in a couple different slides coming up. Not right now, but in a second. You can draft your appeal. You can edit your appeal. You can save your appeal. You can upload attachments to your appeal. A bunch of new different things that we can do with our appeals that we were not able to do before. Starting last year, you can now do this all online, right? In the past, some of you all may have been in those rooms with me with 400, 500, 600 people where we had to do this by hand, by paper, wait to the end, collect it all. We don't have to do that anymore. Right, we can do this all online. A benefit of doing it online now is you also have access to a couple of new features that our office has. One of them is our new comparable property feature. It is finally available. If you've been watching these in the past, you may remember that I've been hinting to this. So have the rest of our office. It is now available, so we're definitely excited about that. One side note, the question about comparable properties keeps coming up. Listen, guys, that's not something you need to do. You have absolutely every right to do that if you want to, but we have people in our office that are going to do that for you. One question we always receive is, will applying for this appeal or filing this appeal, how's that going to change my tax bill? So like stated earlier, there's absolutely no way to guesstimate what your tax bill is going to be. Here's what I can tell you. If you receive a reduction from this appeal, you will see that reduction on next year's second installment tax bill. Remember, this is a 2021 appeal. You won't be paying on 2021 taxes until next summer. What if I appeal and I lose? Will my value increase? Worst case scenario, absolutely nothing happens to your property value. 3 reasons why someone might appeal. There are a lot of different reasons, but here are the 3 main ones. The first one is lack of uniformity. That means you and I live on the same block, house built by the same person, same size, same color, same dog, same cat, same everything. But for whatever reason, our values are not the same, which means our tax bills are probably not the same. And I want to know why, or you want to know why. Why are we not the same? Why are we not uniform? That doesn't make any sense, right? Most taxpayers choose this option when they're applying for an appeal. The next one, I'm going to assume, is everybody here, right? Overvaluation. There's no way my house is worth this much. If my house was worth this much, I would sell it to you right now, right? If that is you, this is the option you want to check. The next one is a little bit different. This is incorrect property description error. In a nutshell, that means our office says you have a building with 6 apartments or less, but you really have a single family home. Or we say you have a single family home, but you really have a condo, or you really have something else, right? We say you have 2,400 square feet, but your property really only has 1,200 square feet, whatever. There's a factual error, not an opinionated error, but a factual error. What factors into your tax bill? The first thing, as the assessor stated, I'm just recapping what he said, guys. He's the pro, right? Your assessment, the value of your home. That's why we're here today. Your exemptions, which is what I'm going to talk about next. The local township tax rate and the levy increases. Remember number 3 and 4. We're going to talk about this in a second when I show you a tax bill. I'm going to show you where to actually find these things on your tax bill. These are not just things that we're making up. I'm going to show you how you can actually read this so you can understand what's going on, plus the total assessed value of your city or town. So what are exemptions? Exemptions are discounts, guys. Real simple. They are discounts given to you as long as you qualify to reduce the total taxes you owe for that year, right? We have a lot of different exemptions. I'm going to go over that now. The first one is the homeowner exemption. Sorry, that's simple. That's for anyone who owns and occupies their property for that tax year. So if we're talking about the tax bill that's coming up, you owned and occupied your property January 1 of 2020. The next one is senior. This one, similar to the homeowner, except there is an age requirement. You had to have been born in 1955 or before. If you were born after 55, you just have to wait until that year comes up. Real simple. Senior freeze, very similar to the senior citizen, except now there's an income cap. You cannot make more than $65,000 as a total household income gross. Listen, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. That's not what I do. You know how much you make by your tax information. On the application, we actually have an income verification page that you just plug in the numbers and the calculation is done for you. Next, we have persons with disability. This is for anyone who has a disability. Our office has no authority to tell you if you are disabled or not. We actually give you an application, a paper. You take that to your doctor's office. Your doctor fills that out on your behalf, and then you turn that into our office, and then a calculation gets done, and boom, you get your exemption. Returning veterans exemption. This is for anyone who is returning from active duty. You get this exemption for the year you return and for 1 year later. So it's like a 2-term thing. Next is veteran with disabilities. This is my favorite exemption. This is for any veteran that has a service-connected disability. Your eligibility rate has to be at least 30%. And if you have 30 to 49%, X is removed or deducted from your tax bill, depending on where you live at. 50 to 69% has X discounted or deducted from their tax bill, depending on where you live at. And then 70 to 100%, you don't pay property taxes at all as long as your home is not worth more $800,000. It's a little bit more than that, but let's just keep it there. Long-time homeowner exemption. This is for anyone who owned and occupied their property for 10 consecutive years, does not make more than $100,000 as a total household income gross, and your equalized assessed value. So not your tax bill, not the value of your home. I'll show you what number I'm talking about in a second. Your equalized assessed value must have increased significantly within those 10 years. What does significantly mean? It all just depends on where you live at. Each township has its own rate. Just contact us, guys. We're going to put that information in the comment section super soon. Just contact us directly. We kind of don't like talking about personal properties on here. just a little weird, but just contact us with your PIN number, your phone number, and your address, and we can do that for you. And then the next one is the home improvement exemption. This is for anyone who does improvements to their home. As long as you pull the permits correctly, our office will be notified. Any improvements up to $75,000, that increase in value, potential value, is not attached to your assessed value for 4 years. You are frozen for 4 years. Anything above 75,000, so like 100,000, 80,000, 90,000, whatever's above 75,000, that gets attached to your assessed value. So now this is a tax bill. Very quickly, our office does not mail this out. When you pay your tax bill, you're not paying our office. That's, I think, the biggest misconception here. This is issued by the Cook County Treasurer's Office. So I want to explain this to you very quickly. So each township has its own tax rate, which is this number here. There are 38 different townships. Each township has its own rate. Some townships have multiple rates, just depending on how big that township is. This is what we were talking about earlier when I said number 3 and 4, the tax levy in the townships. That's what we're talking about. And here you'll see that the dollar amounts required are actually broken down to the penny. You have school districts, police, parks, fire departments, mosquito abatement, village costs, city costs, municipality costs. All of that is here. That has nothing to do with the assessor's office. Here's what does. Here is what, you know what I mean. Here's the good stuff, right? So here's what we want to show you guys. The exemptions. Under tax calculator, the bottom left-hand corner of your tax bill, this is where your discounts will be written out. There, here's where they will appear. The homeowner exemption, the senior citizen exemption, the senior freeze, the returning veterans, disabled veterans, all of those will appear here. The only one that will not appear here is the long-time exemption. For whatever reason, the Treasurer's Office decided to do it this way. Under important messages, that's where the long time will be if you received it. Now, when we talk about the long time, we talked about an EAV. That's this number right here, the equalized assessed value. That is your value multiplied by the state equalizer. That number, not your tax bill, not the value of your home, but your equalized assessed value is what needs to have increased significantly depending on where you live in order to see if you qualify for the long time or not. But guys, our office automatically sends those applications out to homes or properties that do qualify. So if you did not receive it, you probably don't qualify. But whatever the case is, if you want to check it out or figure out if you do qualify, just contact our office. It's super simple. That information is in the comments already. Just go ahead and click there, fill out the form, put your PIN number, your address, and your phone number, and we will look into that for you. Automatically renewed exemptions. This is new. It's no secret, guys. Everybody knows that COVID hit hard, and we wanted to make sure that our office was still working diligently to help taxpayers. So we decided that we were going to make exemptions automatic going forward, like the homeowner, like the senior freeze. Those are automatically renewed going forward. You can also use this website to see if you've been receiving those exemptions or not. I'm going to leave this on the screen for a second so you can take a screenshot or you can take a picture, but it's cookcountypropertyinfo.com. That's in the link as well. That's in the comments as well. That information is there. And here's what you can do with that information. You can look up exemptions. You can look up if you paid your tax bill or if you have paid your tax bill or not. You can look up appeal history. A lot of cool information is on this site. It is for your use. I'm going to leave this on the screen one more time, cookcountypropertyinfo.com. And this is important because when I'm not doing this, I'm actually answering emails. And lately, we've been seeing a lot of emails that say, hey, I didn't file for my exemption, or I forgot to file for my exemption, whatever the case is, can I apply now? Unfortunately, the due date was April 9th, so we cannot apply now. However, once you receive your second installment tax bill, we can then apply for what's called a certificate of error. A certificate of error is a way for our office to go back and correct mistakes, whether they were on your end or our end, it doesn't matter. We want to get this right. So as of this moment, right now, as of me speaking and you hearing this, we can go to 2017, 2018, 2019, and the current year. So up to 4 years, depending on how you count, right? Guys, people literally get back thousands of dollars. This is not a hustle. This is not a thank you for living here. This is not, no, this is money that belongs to you. And it's super easy for us to check if you qualify or not. All you have to do is provide us with your PIN number, your phone number, and your name, and your address, sorry, and then we can go ahead and plug these numbers in and see if you qualify or not. Guys, literally thousands of dollars are just sitting there because most homeowners never check. They never check their tax bill, and they don't know that they're missing their exemptions. On the left-hand side is what you would see. This is a reassessment notice. This is what you would have received in your house or in your property. This is not a tax bill. This is not a tax bill. This is not a tax bill, right? This is actually just what our office believes your property is worth. If you agree, then you shouldn't be here. You should be eating dinner. You should be hanging out. You should be, I don't know, doing something else with your time, right? However, if you don't agree, then you're supposed to be. This is exactly where you want to be. To see if you are able to file an appeal, it's very simple. If you received that reassessment notice, that lets you know it's time for you to appeal. However, maybe you misplaced it. Maybe you haven't opened your mail yet. I have a mountain of mail right there that I haven't opened yet. Here's where you can go. You can go to cookcountyassessor.com/assessment calendar and deadlines with hyphens in between. I'm going to leave that on the screen for a second. That's also available in the comment section as well. Here is where your township is listed and your mailing dates and your due date to file your appeal. This is where you can find all that. We also, again, we get this question a lot. Do I have to file? Do I have to provide comparable properties? Do I have to provide those things to your office? Absolutely not. Our office will find them for you. However, we understand that this is something you may want to do just for peace of mind for yourself, and that's fine. So I'm going to leave this on the screen right now too. You guys go ahead and save this, take a screenshot, or click on it in the comments section. cookcountyassessor.com/what are comparable properties. Give it a couple seconds that you guys do that. All right. So now this is what it looks like when you're applying for an appeal. When you're filing your appeal, this is what your screen should look like. Guys, we literally just took our paper document and just digitized it. Put it in here, cleaned it up, changed the colors, and made everything user-friendly. You can literally upload things here now. It's super simple. Each heading or each tab has its own heading, has its own walkthrough. You can do this, guys. This is so much easier than before. But I do want to bring attention to two things. One, if you have a prorated property, that means you have two PIN numbers for the same property. If that is you, you want to put your secondary PIN or your third PIN right here where it says additional PINs. This is only for prorated properties. Want to know what a prorated property is? There's just one property that has more than one PIN number attached to it. If you want to attach something, if you want to upload pictures, a plat of surveys, sales analysis, reports, an appraisal, anything like that, here is where you want to do it. You want to click on attachments, and I'll just encourage you to be mindful of where you're uploading, because some of these, there's a limit to how much we can upload. Some are 25 megabytes, 10 megabytes, 5 megabytes. So just be cautious on that. Our office is open. We are available to help. This is what we do. We do have in-person visits. You can make an appointment to come see one of us downtown. It makes no sense for you to take the ride all the way downtown and then wait in line when you can just make an appointment, right? Here's how you would do that. cookcountyassessor.com. Our phone number is 312-443-7550. Guys, we are socially active, so please follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I think that's what that logo is. LinkedIn and YouTube. Share this with your friends. Mr. Rogers said, be a good neighbor. The way you are able to be a good neighbor is to share this information that you have. Don't hoard it. Share it with the people that you know don't have Facebook, or the people that aren't very savvy with technology. Go ahead and share this information. Knowledge is power. This is what we do. And now on to my favorite part, the Q&As. So let's see. How you doing, boss? Back in here? All right. Selena Garcia. Good evening, sirs. You may answer this soon, but wanted to know, our house was assessed as a 2-bathroom home, but it is only a 1.5 bath. How do I correct this and possibly lower my property tax?
You want to take that, Hector?
Oh, yeah, no problem. So this is called, actually, is it right? Right here. So earlier we talked about the reasons why someone might appeal. And I know you wrote this earlier in the presentation, but incorrect property description. So when you get to this screen, where are you? When you get to this screen, there is information here that says, please check here on what is correct, or please check on what you want to change. You do that by filing an appeal. Property description error, characteristics change. This is where you do that. And once you appeal, it'll get corrected. I can't tell you if it'll lower your property taxes or not. I can't guesstimate that information, but this is what you want to do if you want to correct it. What's the next one? Ms. Reed says, do I have to send an email to get the information on past possible certificate of errors? What is the email address? All right, cool. So Angelina, is there a way you can put no, actually I can grab it. Give me a second. How do I?
It's a race. It's going to be Hector or Angelina that'll be faster.
Yeah. I think I saw the link in here to contact us. Give me 1 second. We'll put the link in there. I don't want to take away from the time, but the link will be in here, or just send us an inbox or a direct message, DM us, and we can do this multiple different ways. We're here to help. We're here to make this happen. Here is the link to make an actual appointment. But for you, Ms. Reed, just contact us. Just inbox us, and we'll take it from there. No problem at all.
And Sarathea, I think we'll also put in information about the page for the certificate of error if you to make the application and to check into there should be other contact information there too. Oh, sorry, we had 2 questions there.
My property is unlike others within a 2-mile radius within the city. How far will the comparable review go?
Well, this is a good question. So when we're looking at the price of houses, we always try to find the ones that are most like yours. But if we can't find ones that are exactly like yours, we will look at homes nearby you and use some of the things that seem to have a close relationship with other houses. So we try to find houses that are built in roughly the same year as yours, that might have roughly the same kind of materials, and we look at the dollar per square foot that people pay for houses like that, and then compare them with yours. And we really try to look at the things that any buyer of a home would look at when looking at your house. So there are actually 30 different factors that we'd be looking at, including the school district, whether it's an area that's noisy. We really, very dependent on location. But even if there's not an exact comparable, we'll try to find the closest ones that we think are there. There's no specific distance limit, but generally we think houses that are going to be within a couple blocks of yours are almost always going to be a better comp than one that's half a mile away or a mile away, because Chicago is so different. It's real estate is about location. Generally, homes that are very close to yours are just going to be better comps than ones that are far away.
John Sullivan, I own an apartment and a daycare in West Humboldt Park and have been providing affordable housing to residents in need for over a decade. The assessment, which was high, went to $1,744,000, which was raised to $5 million. This bears no resemblance to reality. The property might be worth at or slightly more than the previous assessment. The taxes will exceed the mortgage, and the tenants will have to move. The daycare will have to close. If I were to charge rents to even break even, I would have. Ooh, I feel like this is there's more to this.
Well, John, it's possible that we might have gotten the characteristics on your building inaccurately, because when we've assessed something far beyond what anyone can sell it for, just like you're telling us now, people let us know, and there's like will be ample evidence to show that. So what we'd like you to do is our team would like to directly contact you to get your address and PIN, and we can try to get it to where the market value of your property is. This is kind of the thing. We're assessing 1.9 million properties in the city. Think about how varied the city is too. Think about all the different commercial uses like your daycare center or bowling alleys or hot dog stands, and multiply it by tens of thousands. And that's how many we have to look at. And sometimes we don't have enough information, and you know more about it than we do. So you working with us to find the right information so we get that right is the next step. So you're in the right place here, John. We like to get your PIN so that we can follow up with you. You can, is there a way for him to ask a direct question to us so he can get that information?
Absolutely. He just has to inbox us. Very super easy.
Okay, and so what email should he send to?
Email us.
There
so
it
you
is.
can email us at cookcountyassessor.com/contact. There is the form that you would fill out, and just fill that information out. That comes directly to our team, and then we can answer that accordingly.
Yep. So just go to that web address. The form will come up. You can type in your PIN, sir, and then we can contact you. Try to give us your phone number too, and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely. I think, I don't know if we have any. Oh, here goes another one. Assessor Kagi, a constituent landlord, reached out saying that their taxes in Humboldt Park had tripled. Was that a pattern?
Well, it's not a pattern, first of all, because taxes haven't gone out. So remember, if there's a change in your assessment, there can be a change in your assessment for any number of reasons. But remember, a change in your assessment does not translate into a change in your taxes, because if lots of other people's values are changing, then the size of the base is changing. So as we've seen in the last 2 years, an assessment, if it goes up, its tax bill does not go up nearly the same amount because other people's values have gone up too. And that's what we've seen in many different places. Now, we don't often see properties where their assessed value tripled. There sometimes can be reasons for that. Maybe there was an exemption there before that came off. Maybe that was very underassessed before, or maybe we got it wrong. So the key thing to know is not how much the assessment changed, but what market value did we assign to your building? Does it reflect what it could sell for? And if it doesn't, there was something that we might have gotten wrong in our assessment of value. So that's the first thing you should look at in your assessment notice. Check, and we all make sure to walk humbly, because we know you know more about your property than we do, and we're trying to value a whole bunch of properties, nearly 2 million of them with our less than 250 people, and sometimes our computer models don't know all that they need to know. So Lisa, first thing, look at what market value did we assume for a building. If it's wrong, if it's too high, let's try and figure out what got it wrong. And again, you can contact us at that information that we gave you, and you can appeal it through the appeals process as well. But we encourage you to contact us.
She said, "Thank you, boss."
All right. Okay. Well, Lisa, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thanks for asking.
Ms. Reed, one more time, says, "I think my vacant lot measurements are wrong. Do I have to hire a professional to submit the measurements?"
Hector, what do you think on this? I don't think she has to hire a professional.
So my non-legal advice would be, go ahead and file an appeal and ask for a field check. Someone from our field department will actually come out and do that for no charges. You don't have to pay for that. And then that could be a characteristic error, but I would say go to your appeal, put in a field check, and our team will come out, not me, but someone from our team will come out and go ahead and remeasure that for you.
And by the way, they'll come out there in a safe manner. Our field team has been trained on COVID and safety regulations to be safe. Always.
They'll have one of these.
Right. They will have one of those. They will never come into your home. They will never come onto your property. But they can do a field check to estimate the size of your lot to make sure that it's right. Because that's a really important thing that you check, Sarathea, and not enough people do that. So thank you for doing that, because the information that we have is the information that we've inherited from decades of this kind of field work. And you can imagine that there are many different parts of the process where there might have been a mistake made. And we'd love to get things like that fixed so you don't have to come back and appeal it every year, and we don't have to feel the frustration and embarrassment of getting it wrong. So let's fix that number and make sure it's right. So let's make sure that we can get you a field check to come and do it, and you don't have to pay any money out of your pocket.
And here's where you can email us at. I don't know if we have any other questions. I don't think so.
Okay, I know y'all have, you guys are hardcore. You are frequent flyers, some of you. We're happy you're here. This is the last chance if you want to get a question in. Otherwise, we wanted to thank Commissioner Johnson for having us here, for giving us a chance to speak with you, the people that we serve. And Hector, you have any final parting thoughts here?
Yeah, we just want to say thank you so much for your time, everyone. You, like I said earlier, you literally could be doing anything else, but you're here with us. So I want to thank you guys. I want to ask everyone to please be safe. Things are getting a little crazy again out there, so just please be wise, please be safe. And everyone here, have a good night, and we'll see you guys again next time we're on here. Please follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. That way you can be up to date with everything that we are doing.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all the great questions tonight. And please don't hesitate to call us, contact us. We're here to serve you. You can make an appointment with our online system. You don't have to wait in line at the assessor's office. Absolutely. You can call to make an appointment. We're all here to serve you. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, guys. Good night.
Bye now.